In the heart of a small, unassuming town stood an old, ivy-clad manor that had seen centuries pass by in quiet dignity. It was beneath the weight of soft autumn rain that Eleanor, a young woman whose eyes shimmered with a blend of curiosity and quiet sadness, returned to her ancestral home after years away in distant lands. The aged structure, filled with creaking floorboards and whispered secrets, awaited her return with an air of enigmatic familiarity. Among the faded photographs and relics of a bygone era lay an unanticipated inheritance, a set of 7 antique silver spoons, each meticulously crafted in a style that defied the relentless march of time. The spoons, arranged neatly on a carved oak tray, exuded an otherworldly gleam, their surfaces catching dim rays of light that filtered through stained glass windows. To any other stranger, they might have served as simple utensils for an old family dining ritual. But the spoons, with their delicate filigree patterns and mysterious engravings, conveyed a sense of history. With a mixture of apprehension and intrigue, Eleanor considered these objects as merely ornamental, beautiful heirlooms left behind by ancestors who had long departed. Little did she understand that this dazzling set of 7 spoons was not a mere collection of relics for admiration, but rather a gateway to a labyrinth of secrets and supernatural enigmas woven into the very fabric of her family's past. In the faded pages of an ancient journal discovered in the mansion's forgotten library, Eleanor encountered fragmented musings left by a relative whose words had trembled on the verge of despair and mystery. The journal's ink, now a sepia tone from decades of neglect, hinted at an insidious legacy that had darkened the path of the family for many generations. Each entry alluded to peculiar events, a mirror reflecting images that did not correspond to the room, shadows that moved in contrary directions, and whispers that floated in the silence of midnight. The narrative, fragile yet potent, chronicled a lineage haunted by these silver spoons, relics that were said to be keys unlocking a dreadful secret. In the days that followed her arrival, Eleanor began to notice subtle disturbances that fractured the monotonous cadence of her everyday life in the manor. The mirrors in the grand foyer, once symbols of polished elegance, now appeared to harbor elusive presences that shimmered and vanished when observed directly. At the stroke of midnight, when the ethereal light of the moon barely seeped through time-worn curtains, the spoons would gleam with an uncanny luminescence in the dim recesses of the dining hall. The disturbance was not merely confined to objects. An inexplicable chill would sweep through corridors, accompanied by a low murmur that resonated from unseen mouths. It was as if the very walls of the manor had become sentient, recalling memories of past transgressions and silent laments for forbidden knowledge. The journal, with its cryptic passages and hasty scrawls, became Eleanor's sole guide as she pieced together the fragments of a long-ago mystery. She learned that the spoons had been handed down secretly from one generation to the next, each transfer precipitated by inexplicable circumstances that had shrouded the family in rumors of supernatural interference and tragic misfortune. There were exactly 7 spoons, a fact not born out of coincidence but as part of an arcane ritual. The last recorded owner of these silver tokens had mysteriously vanished, leaving behind only unanswered questions and a legacy marked by ominous symbols and half-remembered dreams. Eleanor recalled the journal's most cryptic entry, a passage describing a night where the full moon cast silvery rays, creating reflections that moved independent of their source. In that moment, the spoons were said to sing in a language lost to the world, resonating with voices of ancestors whose lives had ended in turbulent secrets. The entry hinted that each spoon carried remnants of souls willing to sacrifice themselves in the service of a hidden pact, one that intertwined the fates of the delicate silver pieces with the very destiny of the family. This revelation, chilling in its intensity, unsettled Eleanor deeply. In her mind, the spoons ceased to be mere antiques. They had become living symbols of a bound curse, an enigmatic curse that called her to unravel its dark tapestry. As days bled seamlessly into nights, the mansion revealed its secret passages and silent corridors as if it were a vast labyrinth built to confound trespassers. Eleanor spent countless hours poring over faded documents and fragile letters that lay scattered in the family study. Amid her research, she uncovered accounts of inexplicable occurrences that linked the spoons to unsolved mysteries and sudden tragedies. One story recounted a reunion where long-lost relatives gathered under the ancient oak to celebrate a joyous occasion, only for the evening to culminate in a series of bizarre accidents. Reports of cold spots, fleeting apparitions, and inexplicable reflections in polished silver surfaces became interwoven with the family's darker memories. The haunting realization gripped Eleanor's heart as she slowly recognized that each relative, in their own history, had encountered inexplicable phenomena near the spoons. In a particularly poignant discovery, Eleanor found evidence of a ritual that took place in the dead of night, a ritual that involved the symbolic arrangement of the 7 spoons in a circular pattern upon a ceremonial table. The carefully orchestrated design was said to be a conduit for ancestral energy, intended to invoke the protective spirits that were both benevolent and vengeful. Every spoon acted as a node, channeling ethereal forces that could alter the bounds of life and death. The thought that these ancient objects held the power to command forces beyond human comprehension was both fascinating and terrifying. Eleanor's heart pounded with both wonder and dread as she realized that to ignore such enigmatic relics might be to invite the very chaos that had once plagued her ancestors. Seasons turned as Eleanor delved deeper into the legacy carefully veiled in riddles and cryptic notations. The manor itself seemed to pulse with the memories of its past inhabitants, each creak and sigh a testament to long-forgotten events. Late one rainy evening, as thunder rolled in the distance and the wind howled like restless spirits through narrow corridors, Eleanor ventured into the mansion's abandoned music room. There, nestled behind layers of dust and cobwebs, lay a magnificent silver candelabra whose intricate design mirrored the spoons in both craftsmanship and aura. The interplay between the candelabra and the spoons hinted at a ritualistic connection, a suggestion that Eleanor had inadvertently stepped into a continuum of mystical occurrences that spanned centuries. Every element of the household, the creaking floorboards, the whispering walls, and the soft glimmer of the antique silver, appeared to conspire in revealing fragments of a bewildering truth. The atmosphere grew heavier as Eleanor noticed that the silver spoons began to align themselves subtly with events of the past. In her quiet moments of introspection, she would feel an overwhelming presence, as if unseen eyes were silently scrutinizing her every step. The manor, in its Gothic grandeur, served as both a sanctuary and a prison, where the past coexisted with the present, blurring the lines between memory and reality. The ancient journal, now thoroughly worn and fragile, recounted a legend that bound the spoons to a curse that had endured across generations. The tale spoke of a time when a beloved ancestor, compelled by forbidden curiosity, had sought to harness the forces of life and death using the silver spoons as a focal point. In a desperate bid to thwart an impending tragedy, she had arranged the spoons in a ceremonial pattern, only to inadvertently unleash turbulent energies that defied mortal control. The ritual had been designed to safeguard the family, yet it ended in bitter ironies as the unleashed power sowed discord among kin and brought forth inexplicable misfortunes. This paradox that wove protection and doom into a single thread was the very essence that haunted every polished reflection cast by the silver spoons. Lightning split the sky one fateful night as Eleanor, clutching the journal, ascended a creaking staircase that spiraled upward into darkness. Each step she took was accompanied by a symphony of memories, echoes of joy, despair, and fearful anticipation. The shadows elongated along the walls, abstract shapes that danced in the faint glow of a single candle. In a secluded room at the top of the stairs, Eleanor discovered an ancient mirror, its silver frame barely visible beneath layers of tarnish. As she caught a glimpse of her reflection, she saw not only the worried face of a solitary woman but also an ethereal countenance superimposed behind her own, a spectral figure with eyes filled with sorrow and secrets untold. The vision was fleeting, disappearing as abruptly as it had appeared, yet it left an indelible impression that resonated with the silent agony of generations past. Over subsequent weeks, Eleanor immersed herself in the duality of the manor's reality, a place where every artifact and shadow invoked the eternal conflict between the light of cherished memories and the darkness of suppressed histories. The silver spoons continued to become conduits of mysterious energies, their reflective surfaces a mosaic of visible truths and invisible specters. With every passing day, the porcelain calm of the manor was disturbed by tremors of recognition, as if the very home was urging her to decipher its ancient language. The enigmatic engravings on the spoons, which she had once dismissed as mere decorative art, began to reveal hidden names, dates, and symbols that pointed to an intricate genealogy of both honor and sorrow. Each line etched on the metalwork shimmered like a secret waiting to be pronounced, a secret that Eleanor felt destined to unravel, even if it meant confronting the darkest recesses of her own heart. Late one night, Beneath a sky speckled with 1,000 indifferent stars, the full truth of the spoons began to coalesce in Eleanor's mind. The antique silver utensils, which seemed so innocuous during daylight, took on an entirely new significance in the moonlit hours. They were keys, each crafted with deliberate precision, to a locked chapter of her family's past. In the journal's remaining, nearly illegible pages, she discovered references to a clandestine ritual performed on the 7th night of every lunar cycle, a time when the boundary between the living and the spirit world grew thinner than a whispered promise. Legend had it that on this night, the spoons needed to be arranged in a perfect circle around a central offering, invoking forces that could either protect or utterly destroy the lineage. The duality of such a power, as dangerous as it was majestic, emanated from the realization that sometimes the tools designed to safeguard the future could also unleash the past. Eleanor's journey became one of both discovery and reconciliation. The weight of responsibility settled upon her shoulders as she sought to understand her ancestral duty. The spoons had, over the years, become less of a family relic and more of an ethereal mediator between lives lived and lost. Guided by the anguished narratives embedded in every carefully inscribed detail of the silver cutlery, she began to prepare herself for the inevitable confrontation with a destiny written in silver and shadow. Every night, as she gathered the spoons in a labor of both reverence and resolve, the manor around her seemed to exhale memories long buried. The atmospheric blend of sorrow and hope that permeated the corridors was now unmistakably entwined with her own heartbeat, a heartbeat that had grown increasingly synchronized with the pulse of a legacy both ancient and petrifying. In the final, climactic hours of a bittersweet autumn evening, when leaves danced wildly in a tempest of melancholy and whispers of the past, Eleanor arranged the spoons with deliberate care in the long-forgotten ceremonial chamber. The room, steeped in layers of silence and sorrow, bore the remnants of countless rituals performed in the hope of warding off impending doom. The spoons circled a central pedestal that, at one time, was the focal point of a ritual of protection and damnation. As the silver cutlery caught the moon's beams streaming through a high, broken window, the reflections coalesced into a shimmering mosaic of countless ancestors. Their eyes, laden with ancient grief and fierce determination, seemed to observe the unfolding scene from realms beyond mortal ken. At that transcendent moment, time itself appeared to waver, as though the universe paused in silent anticipation of a revelation that bridged the chasm between the present and a forgotten past. Eleanor's eyes, luminous with an inner fire kindled by both determination and sorrow, mirrored the eternal conflict that had defined her lineage. The ghostly apparitions of ancestors materialized in the periphery of her vision, their presence a reminder of a legacy that had been both a blessing and a curse. The silver spoons, now alight with spectral brilliance, converged to form a radiant beacon that cascaded memories in a hypnotic display of light and shadow. In that silent communion, the manor, the artifacts, and the spirit world finally merged into a singular, poignant narrative, a narrative of love, loss, and the eternal struggle to reconcile what has been with what is yet to come. The secret that had haunted the family for generations unveiled itself not as a malevolent force intent on enacting revenge, but as a testament to the enduring power of memory and human resolve. The spoons had been the silent witnesses to every joy and every tragedy, acting as both archivists and arbiters of destiny. The ancient pact, with its intricate interplay of light and darkness, was a reminder that every fragment of the past holds within it the seeds of a future that must be both acknowledged and embraced. In the luminous glow of that fateful night, Eleanor understood that the spoons were not agents of doom but catalysts for transformation, a bridge connecting the lost chapters of her heritage to the promise of redemption in the new dawn. As the first light of a tentative morning crept over the horizon, bathing the chamber in a gentle glow, the silver spoons gradually lost their spectral radiance. They returned to their quiet existence as cherished heirlooms. Yet now their polished surfaces held an undeniable depth, a silent chronicle of a journey through despair, revelation, and ultimately, reconciliation. In the stillness that followed, Eleanor felt an overwhelming serenity replacing the oppressive weight of the unknown. The manor, once a repository of haunting memories, now resonated with a cautious optimism, as though acknowledging that it was time to forge a new narrative in which past sorrows could yield to the healing power of acceptance. And so, in that moment of peaceful transformation, Eleanor embraced the delicate equilibrium between light and shadow. The secret of the seven spoons had been unveiled through an intricate tapestry of ancestral lore and spectral intervention, revealing that every cherished relic, no matter how innocuous it appeared, held within it the profound story of those who had come before. The journey had been filled with lingering echoes, unsettling apparitions, and a persistent questioning of legacy. Yet, at its core, it was a voyage of self-discovery where the poetically inscribed silver cutlery symbolized the paradox of memory, a dual force capable of both exhuming ancient grief and breathing life into the hope of tomorrow. In the final analysis of that extraordinary night, the antique spoons remained on their oak tray, silent yet eloquent guardians of a secret that spanned epochs. Each spoon carried with it a fragment of truth, a testament to a lineage that had learned to dance on the fragile edge of darkness and light. The legacy, as complex as it was beautiful, was entrusted to Eleanor, whose heart now beat in symphony with the eternal rhythm of heritage and redemption. As she stepped away from the chamber, the manor seemed to whisper a benediction, a promise that while secrets may be unveiled and memories resurrected, the power to transmute sorrow into wisdom and isolation into unity lay within the resilience of the human spirit. Thus, the silver spoons, once shrouded in quiet mystery and spectral allure, had transcended their role as relics of a foreboding past, to become beacons of a future defined by reconciliation and renewal. In that fragile interplay of moonlit glow and ancestral shadows, the secret of seven spoons resounded with a timeless message, that every object, every memory, and every whispered secret is a thread in the vast tapestry of life, a tapestry woven with care, where the past, present, and future converge in a silent, eternal communion of light, memory, and hope. Eleanor's journey, marked by both heart-wrenching revelation and serene acceptance, became a testament to the resilience of those who dare to face the legacy of their heritage. Her solitary pilgrimage through the echoes of familial specters was not an end but the beginning of a renewed chapter, a chapter where the darkness of history and the brilliance of hope coexisted in a delicate balance. In the quiet aftermath of that night's revelations, the manor stood as a living relic of both its haunted past and the promise of a dawn unburdened by regret. As life gradually resumed its gentle cadence in the hallowed halls of the old estate, the legacy of the seven spoons deepened into something far richer than a mere collection of silver antiques. It became an emblem of the intertwined destinies of those who came before and those who would follow, a reminder that every shadow has its story, every relic its purpose, and every heart its capacity to transform haunted memories into luminous beacons of light for the future. In the lingering twilight of a renewed existence, the manor and its ancient artifacts echoed a quiet refrain of eternal continuity. A silent promise that though time may scatter the fragments of memory, the legacy of love, loss, and redemption finds its home in the echoes of every heartbeat. And so, beneath the ever-watchful gaze of history and the gentle caress of a new dawn, the secret of the seven spoons revealed itself as not a harbinger of doom, but as an enduring invitation to embrace the timeless dialogue between what was, what is, and what might yet be. Eleanor's path, forever intertwined with the legacy of these silver treasures, journeyed onward into an uncertain, yet hopeful, future. The manor, alive with whispered recollections and subdued radiance, bore testament to the idea that every cherished relic, imbued with the weight of innumerable generations, carries with it the enduring promise of healing, transformation, and the eternal awakening of hope. Thus, in a quiet yet resolute symphony of light and shadow, the mystery of the seven spoons was at last unraveled, a testament to the enduring power of memory, the mysteries of ancestral legacies, and the inexorable hope that even the most haunted past can give birth to a luminous, redemptive future. In this final revelation of truth, the antique silver spoons remained suspended in time, emblematic of a delicate convergence of destiny and heritage. A convergence that whispered forever into the quiet corridors of the heart, where memory meets hope, and every secret finds its place in the eternal tapestry of life.